Think about the last time you applied for a role. You polished up your resume, maybe updated your LinkedIn, and then you hit submit. And then what? You wait. Sometimes you hear back, sometimes you don't. And it's frustrating because you know you have the skills, but somehow you're just one more resume in a crowded pile. Here's what I've been noticing: employers are quietly shifting what they look for. They're still asking for resumes, they're still asking for LinkedIn profiles. Of course, that hasn't gone away. But now, more and more, they're asking, can you show me how you work? They don't just want bullets. They just don't want job titles. They want to see how you think, how you organize, how you solve problems. Now, before you panic, let me be clear. Portfolios are not a requirement in project management. Not at all. You can absolutely land a project manager role with a strong resume and a LinkedIn profile. Trust me. But portfolios are becoming a trend. And if you can lean into that trend early, you'll stand out. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I am Anna Anderson, a career coach, a project manager by profession, and a LinkedIn learning instructor. I help career changers land their first project manager roles and pass their PMP on their first try. And speaking of the PMP, before we get into it, I want to invite you to a free session on September 25th at noon Central Standard Time. This session is how to prepare and pass for your PMP examination on your first try, even if you're feeling overwhelmed and you do not know where to start. If you're actively preparing or you're just curious and want to know what happens when you're preparing, this session will give you that clear plan. And I have a very special bonus for those of you who will be able to join. So that link is in my show notes. Make sure that you sign up. All right, so let's talk portfolios. In creative fields like design or photography, portfolios have been the standard forever. But in project management, this is new. The traditional expectation has always been, you send in your resume, you polish your LinkedIn, you nail the interview, you get the role. But hiring is changing. I've talked with recruiters, I've talked with hiring managers, and they're starting to light up when candidates bring something extra, something that says, here's not just what I've done, but also here is my work. Again, this is not a requirement, so I don't want you to panic, but it's becoming a trend. And it's kind of a trend that, can quietly make a difference between blending in and also standing out. I chatted up with actually a hiring manager, and she said something I'll never forget. She said, when a candidate shows me even one example of their work, a project timeline, a risk log, a process map, it changes how I see them. Suddenly, it's not just about words that are on paper, it becomes real. So she admitted most applicants don't bother, but when they do, she remembers them. That conversation made it crystal clear to me. Portfolios may not be required, but sounds like they are memorable. So, in a competitive market, being remembered is actually half the battle. Now, here's the part that trips people up because people think a portfolio means, a glossy 20-page design book that takes months to create. Nope, you don't need to do that. Portfolio can be as simple as maybe a one-page project you cleaned up and saved as a PDF, maybe a screenshot of a Jira board or Smartsheet timeline with sensitive information removed, of course, so don't put in company information on there, or even just a short case study you write up in Google Slides or even Notion. And then drop it in a free Google Drive folder or make a simple Notion page and then share the link. That's it. That's a portfolio. You can even do it on Canva. There's tons of platforms or free templates that you can use. Free, done. Remember, the goal is not perfection. The goal is so that you are visible, right? For me, here's why I think this matters today. Because portfolios aren't yet the norm in project management. You have the chance to get ahead of the curve if you want. So think of your application materials like layers. Your resume and your LinkedIn are your marketing foundation. Your portfolio is your bonus tool, your additional marketing edge. Your resume tells employers, here is what I've done. And then your portfolio shows them, hey, here's how I can do it. So here's my challenge to you today. This week, pull together just one example of your work. It could be maybe a communication plan or a workflow or a simple timeline. Drop it in a folder and you're done. that's the start of your portfolio. And remember, this is not about pressure. I don't want you to feel pressured. I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, I have an additional thing to do. But if you have the time, go ahead and create one and just save it somewhere to share with recruiters, hiring managers, or people at places that you want to work at. You do not need a portfolio to get hired again. I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that one. But if you want to stand out in this competitive job market in a field that you want to get into, it's smart, or rather, it's a smart way to add polish to your application and your marketing materials. All right, and before we continue again, I'm going to plug in the free PMP session. So if that is in your radar or on your radar, don't miss my free session on September 25th at noon Central Standard Time on how to pass your PMP on your fast try, even if you're feeling overwhelmed. We'll cut through the overwhelm, and also I'll show you exactly how to study smarter and walk into the test day with confidence. Because here is the truth: your resume may open the door, but adding tools like maybe a portfolio, maybe even a certification like the PMP will help you walk through it with authority. All right? Thanks for listening today. I'll see you in the next episode and hopefully live in the PMP session. Okay?